can say as I told you. Jury at the bank down the bar. You should have never doubted me. I'ma work to my last breath. I'ma hustle to my last breath. Yeah.
Good evening. Anybody know where that song came from? Creed. To my last breath. Good evening to the residents, supporters, and curious onlookers trying to confirm for themselves which choice to make on the 28th of April. Good evening to the members of the National Transformation Alliance. Good evening to the governance team. Good evening to the campaign committee. Good evening to the candidates for the upcoming 2025 general election, and to members of the media and to the many, many listening and viewing this evening. It is good that we are here exactly where we began. And the reason I'm stating that is that the NTA began just a couple hundred meters up there by the community center. And we were packed, it was a packed house. We had over 500 persons. And that public meeting showed that there was room, there is vacancy for that bridge constituency, that third constituency. The perception that this country only has room for ketchup and mustard, it is not true. There will always be that opportunity for those persons who are not P&M till they're dead, who are born at UNC and are going to die at UNC. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with even those persons, the 200,000 persons on either side, where a political leader could probably shoot someone in cold blood and they're still going to vote. That is the way they are. I always state that that doesn't help you, it doesn't help a country. You're not supposed to have blind loyalty for a political party. You're supposed to have blind loyalty if you're stupid like me to support Manchester United for the last 10 years and keep suffering. That is the only time you're supposed to have that blind loyalty. But to support a political party that will continue to fail and not look after your well-being, that cannot be right. And the reason I have to specifically thank the candidates here, we have 16 or 17 candidates that will be vying to be possible members of parliament on April the 28th. It is very difficult for a bridge constituency to participate in a general election. The ketchup and mustard, each of them have a budget of over $100 to $150 million. That's why you're seeing all the madness going on. We have situations where persons were being paid $350 at HEC in San Fernando not to vote. We have situations where persons are actually hundreds of, tens of millions of dollars being spent. You will see it in advertising campaigns every few minutes. On television, you're seeing advertisements. By the way, that came from your taxpayers' dollars, because how it works is that the government will give $100 million contracts to certain persons, but that came from you all the taxpayers. And then these individuals who got these contracts, they now pay back the government, who's now the political party, and say, thank you for giving me the contract, but also remember me when you get in government. So what they do, they cut a $10 million check on red and yellow, and that's why you don't need to go Vegas. Whether you go red or yellow, within the first month, you're going to get a $50 million contract. Thankfully with us, I don't have to worry about that, because I get a little $500 from $1,000. And that's why we don't have the situation where we have a renter crowd, where we are trying to fool people. This is legitimate, this is real, this is actually the support that we have. I think personally, it is not right, it is not ethical, but it has reached the politics has become so nasty with the campaign financing. We have information now that certain political parties are actually paying persons. They are selling political seats. $3 million if someone wants to get a political seat. UNC, what's going on? I not like some of you all, in fact. But one thing I can tell you, I am here to be a patriot. I am here to take a bullet for you all. I am here to do what is required to protect you, to serve you. So, people, if you feel like you're going to be fooled by saying people love you, don't buy it. That shows dishonesty. You can't love somebody if you don't know the person. What we need are politicians who are truthful, politicians who are ready to make the ultimate sacrifice, which is what I have done. When you look here on this little notepad, you see here, this here is the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst. Few people in the world have the opportunity to have graduated from this academy. When I went in there in Sandhurst, they selected just about the 27 best military officers in the world outside of the United Kingdom. Out of that 25, 27 odd, only 7 of us graduated. It's similar to what you see with SAS training and commando training, and people are just dropping like flies from different parts all over the world in the Commonwealth. And one of the things they showed us was serve to lead, being able to be prepared to put your life for your country, sacrifice for your country. As Commissioner of Police, there were 43 death threats to myself and my family. I ended up in the hospital on 2 occasions. That is what we want to see leadership. Not political leaders who have a 5-day weekend and then say that they love people and they've never walked the ground. When I walked in the local government election, I walked in the hills of Covine, the hills of Paramin, the hills of Scorpion, the hills all in Cocorite, all throughout in places. And everywhere I went, in all of these hills, in the hills in Rich Plain, the hills of the St. Lucian, and everywhere I went in the Western Peninsula, what I heard, Gary Griffith, we have never seen a commissioner of police here other than yourself. We have never seen a minister of national security here other than yourself. And we have never seen a political leader up here other than yourself. That is the type of leadership we want. Leadership by example, when we intend to make ourselves accessible. So we could have easily gone and selected 30 odd candidates, but I was very selective in the process, making sure that the individuals, the other 16 candidates, have that passion, have that patriotism, being prepared to make that sacrifice, to be on the ground and make yourself accessible. Because you're going to see it. They're going to walk, they're going to shake your hands, and then they're going to disappear for 5 years. No other person, and I'll blow my trumpet, no other person in public service in the history of this country showed that capability to make themselves accessible. I was a madman when I did this and told every single person, this is my number as Commissioner of Police. But you know what it did? It ensured that every single police officer realized that if I stop you in a roadblock, and I decide to flirt with you, you could probably make a call, and next day I'm up in the 6th floor of the admin building next day. You decide to bribe somebody, I could be pulled up. And that turned public confidence and trust in the police service from 8% to 59%. That is what we need. We need systems to measure performance and make people accountable. There's some quick points here because I want to finish by 9. The next point I want to speak about is the comment of persons stating that the NTA didn't win any seat in the local government election. Well, let me tell you something. The people who are saying that, the UNC has never won any of those seats on their own in the 36 years in existence. So to say that, oh, well, you all didn't win the seats. But let me tell you what we did. Let me tell you what we did. We were able to take every one of those 31 seats and cut it from 30 to almost 90%, closing the gap. And these were the PNM's safest seats. So in other words, if we won one of those seats, the UNC would have won all 110. So the audacity of saying, well, you didn't win the seats, because we got these 31 safest PNM seats. But what we did, we cut the gap. Because this area here, no one wants to see or hear about the UNC. So we now have the opportunity to fix Diego Martin West, Diego Martin Central, Diego Martin Northeast. And this time it is, in fact, going to be a 2-horse race. The last time we had something very close was when Rocky Garcia went up for Diego Martin West. I think Gavin Nicholas went up for Diego Martin Northeast. And Miss, how's she name? Nicole Griffith went up for Diego Martin Central. And they all lost by just about 500-600 votes because Kamala Persad-Bissessar did not have the foresight and being proactive to have one major meeting in Diego Martin area. Had she done so, that would have been the end of Keith Rowley, Amory Brown, and Colin Imbert. It would have been 32-9. We would have been able to change the constitution to have proportional representation rather than first past the post, and PNM would have never been in office again. But because of Kamala's failure to have that foresight, she ignored Diego Martin. A few months later, we got the Diego Martin Regional Corporation, and that is because of the Bridge constituency. So this time around, what you're going to find is this 2-horse race. Because, again, the UNC claims to be a national party, but they've totally sidelined Tobago. Now they've given up Diego Martin to a political party that has lost every single deposit in every single election they have participated in. And I said, I'm not going to call Philip Alexander name tonight, so I'm not going to do that. But when you're in a political party and you have lost every single deposit in every single election, the NTA could boast that we have a 100% record of getting back our deposit in every single seat we have participated in. So what I would do, I will take this opportunity to ask the 16 odd candidates or 15, make yourself accessible. Never do what you have seen the ketchup and mustard do. for years upon years, come shake hands, kiss babies, and then they disappear for 5 years. That has been the problem, in fact, in our whole constitution, where persons become members of parliament, and then when you get in government, you become a minister, and you forget about that office. I have no intention to do that if I win St. Joseph. But because you knew when I win St. Joseph, because, no, I would be honest, you never know. An election is an election, anything could happen. But there's one good thing, which is what I will come to now. When it is that people are speaking about the NTA cannot get in government because we don't have 21 seats. Again, total ignorance at the highest level. Go back to history, 1995, it was 17-17-2. A.N.R. Robinson could have easily said, who will make me prime minister? There was an island in the Caribbean about 30 years ago. It was 7-7-1. Mr. Mann said, who's going to make me prime minister? This could very well become 2021. And then if that is the case, I will now decide who I will have in government based on spiritual and moral values. So going back to, I want to go to a point where people have asked, and I want to clarify it now, clarify it once and for all. People said why it is that I've been spending so much time on the UNC and not the PNM. So let me clarify it here. The PNM is at its worst in 1986, worst ever. They lost 33-3. They got 188,000 odd votes. In 2010, 29-12, they were annihilated. I think they got still close to 300,000 votes. That PNM base, it's there. They don't shift. There'll be a small amount that will shift to what came with the Congress of the People in 2007. But if after 10 years of us seeing the most incompetent government this country has ever seen, you feel now, with us trying to influence you, you're going to be influenced to leave the PNM, it's either you're with the PNM or you're not. So us spending time to try to influence someone that every single thing, health, education, the economy, national security, sport, youth development, culture, everything you have failed in. After 10 years, I now have to try to influence you not to vote for the PNM and vote for the NTA? No. That 350,000 persons who, and the reason I call that is because in 2007, the COP got 148,000, the UNC got 190,000. That 350,000, that is our base. That's where we are going to extract the majority of our votes from. So the point is, the people who have already decided that I want to vote other than the PNM, they need to decide between the UNC and the NTA. And I am going to give you the choice. I am going to ask you, look at the options, and you need to select based on the personality, based on the policies, based on the patriotism, based on the honesty between both parties. And this is what I will do. So when it is that I will be making mention of certain things, it is because of that I'm trying to show you, you have a choice. And it is your right. But to blindly vote for a party because I'm born at UNC and I will die at UNC, as I said, or PNM, it does not help. Then there's the road march that the UNC is going to hit you all with, is you're going to split the votes. Local parlance, you're passing out the place. No vote belongs to you. No vote belongs to the PNM, the NT, or the UNC. That is your vote. So anytime the mustard tells you you're splitting the vote, who made you king to believe that because I am not a PNM supporter, my vote belongs to you? It does not. It is my right to select whoever I want. And if that is the case, I must listen carefully. And that's all I am doing today. I am asking you all, listen and decide for yourself. Not blind loyalty, not because mommy and daddy was a PNM or UNC, but listen and feel, does this team, do we have the capability, do we have what it takes to make my life better? And that's what you need to look at. I have seen again what I can refer to as political bullying. They continue to discredit and attack third parties, seeing us as smaller parties. But if you think like that, imagine if you get in government. You get in government and you're predominantly Hindu party. You will ignore the Muslims because there are more Hindus than Muslims. Is it that because the UNC may have won, you're going to attack the PNM because you got more votes than them? Anytime you have that audacity to want to lead a country, but you are deciding to discriminate smaller parties, call them pauper parties, call them failures, what they bring to the table. Just by the way, though, Kamala Prasad-Bissessar was in that pauper party. She was in the NAR in 1991 and she lost her deposit. But Kamala has a kind of lost memory. But it shows that people have the opportunity to choose. And if you have the opportunity to choose, do not let anyone feel that I am going to waste my vote. Because as I said, there's a strong possibility that we could get one seat. one seat, and 2021, we become the kingmaker. If Marshall gets a seat, it could be the queenmaker. But it gives you the opportunity, so do not feel. What happens is that people from the PNM have a degree of hatred for the UNC. And many of them will want to vote for the third party, but they will say to themselves, if I vote for the third party, it may cause the UNC to get in. So because of that hatred, I will stay with the PNM. And then the UNC on the other side, they have that fear that if many of them want to vote for the third party, but if they vote for the third party, it can cause the PNM to get in. You must take away that hate and that fear and just do what is right for the country, what is right for your family. Make the right choice. I want to now discuss policies. That's what this is about. This is not about, and I continue to speak to all the candidates, this is not about attacking, criticizing. We have a political party that hired, and they contracted a social media prostitute to attack other people in other parties. When you have a situation like that, imagine how they will operate when they get in parliament with parliamentary privileges. So we are not going down that road. What we intend to show is that we have the better people, the policies, the plans, the principles, and the political will to make this a better country. So there are four major concerns in this country: national security, health, education. As I said, where public trust and confidence moved from, it was 14%, it went to 59%. Now it's down to 8%. Public trust and confidence in myself as the commissioner was 59%, the highest of any public service of person in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. And this joker said that was his greatest achievement to have me removed. And then he removed me with who? Earl Christopher, that, and then old MacDonald Jacob. So you see their standard. So when it is you look at national security, we are seeing now that the opposition is making lots of recommendations about things with national security. And this is going to be a good one. Every single thing that she has spoken about, I have the document, I have the emails, everything to show that I forwarded this to her. I did the draft, I did the whole concept. And the media is now telling me that she said it is a lie. So when I drafted to her the Ministry of Defense and the Ministry of Home Affairs to split the Ministry of National Security, I have the emails when it was sent to her, and she's saying that it is a lie. The Ministry of Justice, I drafted it to be able to reduce recidivism, to improve rehabilitation, and to improve the criminal justice system where persons could go on remand for 10 years for a crime where the maximum sentence is 6 years. She did not adhere to the policies. The maritime security wall, it is what I developed. The $1,000 for every member of the protective services, I drafted this for her because I was able to state when SWAT was shut down, it cost the taxpayers $20 million per month. I said, let us use this, and we are able to give the funds to every single member of the protective services. She only gave it to the police. I have the emails to show PM, we can also give it to the Army, to the Coast Guard, to the Air Guard, to the Customs, to the Immigration, to the Fire Services, to the Prison Services. I have the emails, and this lady saying it is not true. As the Minister of National Security, I drafted a cabinet note for $1 million to be given to every single member of the protective services killed in the line of duty. People knew that I was the person that finally opened that Pandora's box where persons could not get firearms. 35,000 applicants, and Stephen Williams and company, because they never held a gun in their life probably, or for decades, they were giving out 300 firearms a year. I was giving out 1,000 a year and 1,000 to members of the protective services. She jumps up now to say guns for all. And she is stating that it is a lie. So I am asking tonight the media, because of the, obviously this is something as I was the National Security Advisor and the Security Minister. I am not going to reveal confidential emails between myself and a Prime Minister unless she approves it. But I'm calling you out, Kamala. You have called me a liar. I am asking you to give me permission to reveal all of the emails showing that I drafted the Ministry of Defense, I drafted the Ministry of Home Affairs, I drafted the Ministry of Justice, I drafted the National Security Wall, I recommended the $1,000 for protective services officers, I drafted the $1 million for families of officers. And you'll know in this, Kamala, you'll see the reply, Gary, please send this to Ernie Ross ASAP. I need this on the platform immediately. It tickling your bell now, Kamala? You remember it now? So we have this. This was all done. The point being is that if you're the Prime Minister and you accept it, fine. But you see, understand something, everyone here tonight, and to all those viewing and listening. Getting something to do and having the capability to implement it are two different things. That's why she couldn't implement it, because she doesn't have a clue. She keeps speaking about a Ministry of Defense and a Ministry of Home Affairs. The media never asks, please expand on it. She doesn't know, because she has to go back to the email of the pages and pages, how I broke it down, what is the rationale, what is the cost-benefit analysis. That is what is required. She did not do it. She does not know how, and then has the audacity to lie to the country and say that it wasn't given through myself. But we have done that. And again, when you make comments, we have to be so careful as politicians. When we make reckless comments, we can endanger lives in this country. When I decided to make sure it was easier for persons to get firearms, because I was aware that there was massive corruption going on with police officers holding firearms at stations. And that is why only 100 or 200 were given per annum. When I was able to put it to 1,000, there was still 35,000 out there. So it would have taken me 35 years to clear the backlog. But this dotish hindsight that how we were giving out firearms like if it's nothing. 35 years it would have taken. But I couldn't do more. 1,000 a year measures about 3 a day. You know what they said, to give 3 firearms a day? This is not Rafi, this is not patronage roti you could just give out, you know. This is not giving out like roti. You have to be so careful in giving a firearm to somebody. You have to understand, I have to do background check. I have to do psychometric testing. I have to check with the family. I have to check with the neighbors. I have to check with the finance. And if you don't do that, the wrong person could get a firearm. We are in a situation in this country, you cannot give more than 3 firearms a day. And it's because of me giving out those 6,000 firearms in my 3 years, 3,000 to civilians and 3,000 to members of the protective services. Not one was lost, not one was stolen, not one was used for a crime because of that stringent approach. For her to have the audacity to say guns for all to all law-abiding citizens. Hello, 98% of the country are law-abiding citizens because we could get a certificate of character. If you give firearms to the wrong person, a man might kill his wife. You will lose your firearms somewhere. You will have a negligent discharge. That is why I was able to control it. So for the reckless statement by Kamala Prasad-Bissessar to use that as an avenue to win votes shows irresponsible behavior at its fullest. You don't do that. And then you go to the stand your ground. Lady, you never held a water gun. You know nothing about national security. I know what it is to hold a firearm. A firearm is something with enormous responsibility. When it is you tell people to stand your ground, understand that a little child jumps over in your yard to steal a mango, you are given the right to kill that child. You cannot be using stand your ground. There's a difference towards protecting yourself and your family by using the same force as what is coming to you. So if somebody is coming to attack you, it is your right to shoot the person. But don't tell me you must stand your ground and just kill anyone in cold blood if they go in your home. The amount of times in my life when my football went in the neighbor's yard, how many of you all, and you jump over the yard to get a football? Kamala Prasad-Bissessar is saying, stand your ground, shoot that person. That is madness. And then the audacity of empty the clip. She emptied the clip, but you know, she want to be Gary. She want to be a Bajon. Woman, what empty the clip means that the reason you use a firearm is that when you put that person, you neutralize that person. If that person is neutralized, and you are saying, all I must do is continue to shoot and shoot and shoot that person until I kill them, it shows how cold and heartless that individual is. You have to be very careful and very responsible with a firearm. And it means that if this lady becomes a prime minister, heaven help us, because she is making some very dangerous recommendations that can affect national security. I now want to go into some of the things again that I will mention. So when we speak about what we are going to achieve, what we have achieved, I want you all to understand that what I have here, we have a team. The reason of my measured success in everything that I do, be it sport, be it business, be it national security, is a team I build around me. I hate yes people. And because of that, many persons on my team, they constantly tell me what to do. They say, Gary, take off that from the chat. Let's not say that, let's not do that. That is what a team is about. You will not get that from any other political leader, far less a prime minister. Because when you have yes people around you, that political leader could walk around naked and people will say, yeah, you're looking good. And just by the way, talking about walking around naked, if I walk around in my short pants and people have a problem with it, I have nice legs and I'm going to continue wearing my short pants. All of a sudden I see what Gary doing, walk with his pom-pom shorts. It's not a pom-pom shorts, it's just my legs look good and it make it look like it's a short pants. Anyhow, so we will show that the team that we have around us, national security, for example, we have someone known as Commander Norman Dindial. Commander, are you here? This is one of the most qualified persons with a successful track record with hundreds of millions of assets when he was in the Coast Guard. We have Mr. Paul Nahusi, who is undoubtedly one of the most competent and professional firearm experts in the Caribbean. We have Major Dirk Barnes, who's probably one of the most qualified persons as it pertains to IT and technology with national security. We have Captain Mark Jardine, who was one of the most qualified and competent persons in the Air Guard. And there are about a dozen other persons, previous colonels, brigadiers, persons from the police service, who are also there in the background, because we don't just want somebody with an NTA party card, you know. I want the best minds, the best persons available, regardless of your political affiliation. That is why we have a team. And that is why we have the competence and the capability to transform Trinidad and Tobago, make Trinidad and Tobago safe again. So when you look at this, what I did in my first 120 days as Minister of National Security, 120 days, what I achieved in that period, the PNM did not do in 10 years. The UNC continues to boast that they can reduce crime. So let me just give you the top of my head. You have to break it down into 2010 to 2013, pre-Gary Griffith, who had authority, because as National Security Advisor, all I could have done is advise and give, and she couldn't implement. That is why she failed with the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Ministry of Defense. When I became minister, that's why I pushed the $1 million grant and so forth. But when you look at, so this is you will decide here, 2010 to 2013, this is what the UNC did for national security. They gave you Rishmi Ramnarayan. They call an SOE because of their inability to reduce crime. They arrested 500 young men for no reason at all, and all of you are still paying for it. They shut down the blimp. They shut down the OPV. They shut down SWOT. They fired Dwayne Gibbs, who was probably one of the most competent commissioners, other than myself, in a long time. And they gave Stephen Williams. That is the UNC's history of national security. And they will do it again. Because Jolene John boasted when Erla Christopher was appointed, Erla Christopher is the greatest thing since sliced bread. So you're going to get Stephen Williams and Erla Christopher with a UNC government. This was Gary Griffith as the Minister of National Security. We did, and just a few. We did, in my 2 years as minister, we did a commission of inquiry into the attempted coup. I was able to implement half of those things to prevent a repeat of what we endured in 1990. No other minister has done that before and after me. It was the highest visibility of law enforcement officers on the nation's roads in the history of Trinidad and Tobago by rebranding the Highway Patrol Unit. It'll try to tickle your memory of the things that we achieved. Relaunching the E999 system. When you call, you were getting a response within minutes. Now you're put on hold for 45 minutes. The introduction of the Rapid Response Unit. 100 vehicles strategically placed around the country with GPS tracking to ensure they stay in the area of responsibility to ensure that you can get a 5-minute response. The improvement of operational utilization of TTPS vehicles with GPS tracking on them to ensure they stay in their area of responsibility. The launch of the Community Comfort Patrol, the formal establishment of the National Operations Center, which is what was missing in 1990, having a unit with all the 17,000 cameras all there and making sure we can get all the intelligence together to have effective operations. The UK visa. People are not aware that 10 years ago, the UK did the same thing, and they sent it to the government that they were going to impose the UK visas. I pleaded with the British. I went to London on a few occasions, and I pleaded with them, what can be done? They said it is impossible. There are 9 different things you need to implement. It cannot be done. We had to put K9. We had to put scanners. We had to put undercover officers. We had to put special advisors from the UK. I was able to implement every single one. And then we were thanked by the British for doing it. You know, Fitzy said I was a liar because Faris Alwari was in the Senate attacking the government for the same thing. And guess what? Hines sat down next to Faris, so he was sleeping again. He didn't even realize that is because of Gary Griffith, we were able not to have the UK visas. And bam, Hines returns, and now we need to get visas to go to the United Kingdom. We had the establishment of the National Security Special Operation Group, a highly trained and tactical unit in counter-revolutionary warfare to make sure we are prepared for a repeat of 1990. The formal establishment of the Energy Sector Security Initiative. That was a sector that made sure we had quality persons in security, making sure that our energy sector was secured and prepared for a response. Had that remained, the disaster that took place in Paria may not have taken place because that energy sector security initiative was there to prevent and to make sure we have an immediate response to such natural and man-made disasters. The establishment of the National Security Training Academy, 2014, still remains as the safest carnival ever. We moved from Tier 2 watch list to Tier 2 on the USA report on human trafficking. Why? Because I was able to re-establish and reignite the transnational organized crime unit. I was able to form an agreement with Colombia and Venezuela to minimize the problems of human trafficking. You all recall, persons who may be a little older, every week you were hearing that our fishermen were being held and stopped by La Guardia Nacional. Why do you think it stopped? Because I went and I met with the Venezuelan officials, and they then, after the negotiation and dialogue, they guaranteed that the La Guardia Nacional will never abuse their authority again. That started joint operations with the Coast Guard and the La Guardia Nacional. Lavantil, there was a soldier that was shot or killed, and I put 135 soldiers into Lavantil. For 90 days, there was one murder, domestic violence. It was the safest Lavantil has ever been. The increase in CCTVs with 500 cameras, the launch of CCTV Center in Tobago, establishment of police stations in Arima, Piarco, Maloney, Camuto, Brasso, Labre, and unfortunately Duncan Street, where a UNC senior jefe gave a gang leader the contract to build a police station in Duncan Street, and that is what they want to bring back. As I said, the establishment of the transnational organized crime unit, put in the largest number of police officers in recruiting batches of 350, never done before. The acquisition of garment vessels for half of the cost of the OPVs to secure our borders, improved communication system. All of these things is what caused the steady progress and the safest that Trinidad and Tobago has been, the highest reduction in serious crime in 31 years. So when it is that the UNC wants to continue to boast, we have the track record here, we have the capability, we have the people, we have the political will. And another time I will continue to show the things that we intend to implement to make Trinidad and Tobago safe again. Because you ain't seen nothing yet. The things that I have done through enormous research in the last 3 years, is if you felt that when I was Commissioner of Police, you felt safe, you're in for some good times, because we intend to make Trinidad and Tobago safe again. And just before I wrap up, I want to get again, I am not here to give you all great promises. That is what we're doing. We're here now that the PSA has joined with a party, and they said they're going to start at a minimum of 10%. Let me be blunt. I would love, if I'm Prime Minister, to give everybody 10%, 20%, heck, 90%. But let us be honest. When you give 10%, you are now trying to say that I am now going to have to find hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars per month to offset that. If I am unable to do that, what do you think is going? Because if you have to increase expenditure, you now have to increase income to balance the budget. If you cannot find that money to offset that expenditure, what is going to happen? You're going to have to raise taxes. And then when you raise taxes, it becomes a byproduct towards the increase in cost of goods and services. It becomes a byproduct to unemployment, because now the person will say, look, I had to hire 10 people, now I have to pay you all more, so I have to fire 3 people. Unemployment becomes a byproduct, again, to increase crime. So we have to be very careful. So as much as you will hear people boasting, we are going to increase everybody's salary by 10%, and we're going to give you this. We have a political party that went on Google and came up with 50 ways to improve health in Trinidad and Tobago. No cost-benefit analysis, no maintenance cost, no justification, no demand, not looking to see if you have the quality, the training, the technology. Each item will cost about $100 million. So she's saying, let us find, we are going to spend $5 billion in things such as a burns unit for Point Lisas. Nobody get burned in Point Lisas in 50-something years, but there's a good way, it's sounding good. But when you do this, all of these political parties are boasting about things that they intend to give you, but they're not saying how they get any money to get it. One thing I'm going to promise you, I'm going to be honest with you. I am not going to give you pie in the sky and promise you all of these things, because all of these things they keep implementing and stating they're giving you. They are not stating how they're going to get the money, which means they're either going to lie or they're going to tax you, and the tax is now going to hurt you even more. So looking at all of these different concerns, they now believe that the only way to make voters win, to win their votes, is to come up with new ideas. So you come up with a Ministry of AI. Oh, for God's sake, you have a Ministry of Digital Transformation. You don't need to have a Ministry of AI. But you feel by saying that, people say, yeah, boy, a Ministry of AI. The other one, the Prime Minister says, let's have a Ministry of Efficiency. You don't need a Ministry of Efficiency. You need to put the same systems that caused me to transform the police service that was seen as the most corrupt, the most incompetent, into being the most productive. Put systems of good leadership, good accountability, good management, and measure performance in each and every ministry. You don't need to have a Ministry of Efficiency. And all of these things, as I said, we are going to show you that we have the plan, the people, the policies, and the political will. I ask the candidates, all of you will keep this election clean. Do not do as you see others doing. They are going to demonize others, destroy others. This is a 3-week period. Everybody have a mark to bust to try to destroy people. What we are going to show is we are at a higher standard. We are going to show that we have the capability to transform Trinidad and Tobago. And before I close, again, I ask everyone, do not vote on blind loyalty. The PNO UNC till are dead. We've been there. We've gone through that. This is your chance. This is your opportunity. We can make this a better country. Work with us. Believe in us. And let us make this a better country. Thank you.
I'm going to ask the political leader to stay with us for a moment. I just want to thank everybody who turned up and to let you all know, don't rush out because we have refreshments for you. But I'd like to ask all the candidates, every candidate that is going up for the National Transformation Alliance, I'd like to ask you all to come on stage now, please.
Yeah, you need to move this?
No, you just stay right there. Walk with your flags, please. Every candidate. Oh, we have another short pants boy. Hey, he wants to give Gary competition. Come. Come in. Okay. Yeah. But I have to talk. I'll move it right there. Hello? Yeah. We want to pay a tribute to a very special person. You've all heard Gary speaking, talking about our plans and what he plans to do. But I want to let you know that behind every good man, there's a better woman. And we want to pay tribute to Nicole Dyer Griffith, who is the glue that keeps us all together. We want to wave our flags and say, hey, Nicole, we're praying for you. You got this, girl. You got this, okay? So thank you all, everybody. And now, can we hear our tune, please? This is the NTA tune.
Yeah, baby! You know it's all about NTA. Here we go! Somebody say NTA, 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 NTA. Let it go! We got the NTA. NTA is the way. Gary Griffith got the plan. So let us save our nation. No! We voting NTA. Voting. We voting NTA. Voting. We voting NTA. Voting. We voting NTA. Listen, we living in fear. Criminals everywhere. Robbery, shooting, murder, spree, and criminals have no fear. When Gary was on top, watch all the crime rate drop. Uploaded like a clown, gonna try to taste me appointment down. Gary Griffith wanna serve, give the country what they deserve. You know he was Skylock, hit the PNM straight out of the bar. We voted NTA.